joint meeting, very special joint meeting between the YMCA and the ICG Toastmasters Club. And I take this privilege to start the very first meeting in this year, 2022. How many of you know the mission of the Toastmasters Club? Yes, I think almost all of us, except the guests, may be unaware of that. But for the benefit of guests, the mission of the Toastmasters Club is to provide a positive and supportive learning experience by which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in a greater self-confidence and personal growth. For the meeting to go on smoothly, there are 3 ground rules which need to be followed. Please put off your phone or any noise-making devices or keep it in silent mode. Please refrain in talks with regards to sex, religion, and politics. Please keep your camera on all the time and keep your audio mute unless you are the speaker. The theme for today's meeting is very apt, that is marching towards 2022. Well, I can't wait to introduce you to the presiding officer for today's meeting. He is a very enthusiastic, confident, and dynamic personality. He has been in Toastmasters family for almost 2 years, and he's been working as a IT professional for a leading company in Goa. Please help me welcome TM Sartorio with a big round of applause. Now I hand over the platform to TM Sartorio.
Thank you very much, Marianne. Welcome everybody. The wait is finally over. We finally have a joint meeting of the 2 best clubs in Goa. The meeting has been long overdue. But as they say, the fruits of patience are always sweet. For the guests out there, Toastmaster is an organization started in 1924 by Ralph Medley to teach public speaking and leadership skills. After nearly 100 years of inception, Toastmaster has reached over 149 countries and more than 16,000 clubs, of which ICG Toastmasters Club and Goa YMCA Toastmasters Club are among the best. For the guests out there, the agenda of the meeting is put in the chat box. Zoom Master, can you put the agenda? Also do fill up the Google form, which will be put in the chat box in a short while. So now we come to the VIPs of the meeting, the guest. Guest Siddesh Kamath, can you unmute yourself and introduce?
Yes, hi everyone. Let me put my camera on. I don't know whether you all can see me.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Hi, so this is Siddesh Kamath. I'm from Vasco originally. I'm working at Buoyancy Consultants. And along with me, I also have Shubham Desai. I don't know whether Rohit Patil has joined, but Rohit Patil and Rahul Gawas, who will be also joining this meeting. And all of us are, thinking of joining Toastmasters as soon as possible. So this is our one of the meetings that we thought of joining, so that we get a feel of how the Toastmaster meetings work. I'm sorry that I'm traveling from office today to home, and still I thought of joining because I found it really interesting. But please excuse me for the noise around and the video. Yeah.
No problem at all, Siddesh. And thanks a lot. Even after the noise, you still put your video on. So thank you for that. And whichever club you join, please do join Toastmasters, because that will be one good decision in your life.
Yes.
That's your career and your personal life.
Yes, sure.
You said you came with Shubham. So maybe
Yeah, so Shubham Desai is also there with me.
yeah. Shubham Desai, you're next. Okay. Can you turn your camera on?
Hello.
Yes. Yes, Shubham.
Unmute yourself, Shubham.
Unmute yourself and can you introduce?
1 second. Hello, can you see me? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, hi. Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Shubham Desai and I live in Porvorim. And I got to know about this Toastmaster from our colleague Siddesh Kamath. So since then I was like just preparing for this meeting also. Like I just wanted to join I just wanted to see how it goes. Like what will be the like how it will be going in the future. Like what shall we be doing in future and everything. So that's it. Like yeah.
You have a good friend in Siddesh Kamath, Shubham.
Yeah, he's our HR
Give me good
manager.
advice to join Toastmasters. So
Yes.
please do attend a meeting, do participate in the table topics, and of course,
Yeah, sure.
do join in the
Yeah,
club.
sure. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Next, we have Mahadev Sawant. Mahadev, can you unmute yourself? Sorry?
He's a member of Goa YMCA Toastmasters.
Okay. Okay, Mahadev. So you are excused at the moment. We have Rahul Gavas. So Rahul Gavas, can you unmute?
Yeah, hi. Yeah, good evening, guys. Myself, Rahul Gawas, and I'm also from Buoyancy Consultants like Shubham and Siddesh Kamath being our HR. He had brought us this idea of joining Toastmasters, and I had also attended along with Siddesh one of the meetings. I think it was from Vasco Club, I guess, since I used to live in Vasco, but now I have shifted to Panjim. So I'm eagerly waiting to officially sort of join Toastmasters. I've attended the meeting wherein there were table topics and there was a grammarian. So just eagerly waiting for to officially be a part of Toastmasters.
Oh, that's nice. And for all the people from Buoyancy, let me tell you, joining Toastmasters will keep your career buoyant in the future. Yeah. So
Yeah.
do we have anybody else from Buoyancy?
Rohit Patel was supposed to join. I'm not sure whether he's joined, but I don't think so. No more from our side.
We also have a very auspicious guest joining us all the way from US, ex-Toastmaster Ishan. Can you introduce yourself?
I'm not joining from the US, Sartori. I'm joining from Talegaon.
Good to have you back.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. It's fun to be back. It's nice to be back into a meeting. I'm Ishan. I was a Toastmaster back at NIT Goa, then ICG MAPSA for a month or so, and then Siemens Goa Toastmasters. Right now I'm in Goa. I'm currently doing my master's in the US. So yeah, just happy to be here.
Great.
We will be joining back very soon.
Good to have you back, Ishan. Okay, are we done with all the guests? Yeah, I think so. Okay, now let's get to the business part of the meeting. Today's meeting will be conducted by two of the most established speakers in Goa. I am privileged even to call both of them my friends. One is my whiskey buddy, and the other is my coffee buddy. So, introducing first, we have the very elegant and amazingly impressive Toastmaster Runa. Toastmaster Runa is the president of Goa YMCA Toastmasters Club and also runs a very own training institute called speaking studio. The other TMOD of the evening is the very dynamic and dashing DTM Umesh. DTM Umesh is at the pinnacle of the pharmaceutical industry. And more importantly, he is the backbone of the ICG Toastmasters Club. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for TMODs of the day, Toastmaster Runa and DTM Umesh.
Marching towards 2022. Why did Runa and I choose the topic marching towards 2022? It's obvious. We have finished a pretty wavy years of 2021, and we want to march towards 2022, and we want you to march with us. And that's the reason why we picked the theme marching towards 2022. I know that each one of us, I know that every one of us have had some issue or the other in 2021. I cannot but express my sorrow and the sorrow of our entire Toastmaster fraternity for all those who had difficult years in 2021. But believe me, we were there with you. We were there with you. We will be there with you in future as well. And why, as Toastmaster of the day, I must tell you that this theme is going to be important for the entire fraternity. I'm not only talking of Toastmasters, I'm talking of the entire world as well. And that's why we chose this topic. And I'm going to take it forward in a manner that will be simple and will also enable the entire fraternity of Toastmasters attending this program, as well as the guests that are there, that marching forward, marching towards 2022 is what we are looking forward to. I will now allow my TMOD to start the meeting. So, Runa, can we have you introduce the role players for a start?
Sure. Thank you, TMOD and my co-host, Toastmaster Umesh. Martin Luther King once said, "You don't have to see the whole staircase, just take the first step." Now, it seems to me as if, we have started 2020 on a bang, but at the same time, we seem to be facing a situation ahead of us that we are not sure of, how we're going to go about it. But I think all of us need to just take that first step. And this joint meeting that has the participation of both YMCA and ICG Club members and so many guests is a great start. So we are really eager to take this meeting forward, and let us march ahead together, step by step, even if we cannot see the entire path right now or the entire staircase right now. And to help me march ahead, I have my team of the 4 main role players, starting with the grammarian. Now, our grammarian for today, you have already seen her. Toastmaster Mary Ann was the sergeant at arms who opened the meeting today. And she is one of the newest and most enthusiastic members of the Goa YMCA Toastmasters Club. I tell you, she has started her journey as a Toastmasters with a bang, taking up every role possible, multitasking like she has done today. And we really consider her a very important part of the Goa YMCA Toastmasters Club. May I ask Toastmaster Mary Ann to please tell us something more about the role of the grammarian.
Well, thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, TM Runa, my fellow Toastmasters and dear guest. As a grammarian, it's my responsibility to pay a close attention to all the speakers, carefully to their language usage. I'll take note of improper language as well as the outstanding words, quotes, and sayings used by various speakers. I will also introduce you to the word of the day, and I encourage you to use it as many times as possible during your speech. Well, today, word of the day is gleeful, which means joyful, happy, excited. It's got many meanings. To put it in a sentence, I was gleeful to attend the first day at my new job in forest department. You can also put it, in spite of all the hardships I'm facing, I cannot help but be gleeful when I meet my college friends. Finally, I will present my report when I'm called upon to do so. Over to Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Marianne. Let me rephrase that one sentence of yours. In spite of all the not so good news coming around from all sides right now, I'm really gleeful to be attending this very enthusiastic joint meeting of the ICG Toastmasters Club and the Goa YMCA Toastmasters Club. Thank you once again. And our next role player is a distinguished Toastmaster. For the benefit of our guests, Toastmaster Umesh also is a distinguished Toastmaster. It is a title that you get after attaining several levels in your progress as a Toastmaster. It's something that you will learn more about once you become a Toastmaster. So once again, it's amazing to have so many DTMs or distinguished Toastmasters among us in the room. You will see a few more soon. And DTM Akbar is by profession an investment banker. He has been the past president of the Goa YMCA Toastmasters Club. He's a charter member of the Goa YMCA Toastmasters Club, which means he helped to form the club at the start. And of course, Goa YMCA is the oldest club in Goa. And he is obviously an integral part of our club. And I'm going to hand it over to him now to explain to us the role of the timer. Over to you, Toastmaster DTM Akbar.
Thank you, Toastmaster Runa. Good evening and warm welcome to all the Toastmasters. I wish you all a happy, gleeful year. As seconds pass by, we hardly notice. As minutes pass by, we don't care. As hours pass by, we just shrug it off. But when a year passes, we all take notice. We wish each other a happy new year, and then we think about the past year, how soon it has passed away. It is at this moment that we actually realize the importance of time. And friends, I would like you to latch on to this thought, to realize the importance of time in whatever we do. And just remember that when we are taking 1 minute of our time on a call like this, it is multiplied by the number of participants. So please stick to your times. And let me now introduce the timing rules. We have 4 speeches lined up today. The first speech is for 8 to 10 minutes, and the other 3 speeches will be for 5 to 7 minutes. So at the qualifying time, I will change my background to green. At 6 minutes, that is midway, I will change it to yellow. And at 7 minutes, that is at the final time, I will change it to red. Similarly, for table topics, the time is 1 to 2 minutes. So at 1 minute, I will give the green signal. At 1.5 minutes, the yellow. and at 2 minutes, the red signal. The evaluations are for 2 to 3 minutes. So at 2 minutes, you will see the red signal, at 2.5 minutes, the yellow, and at 3 minutes, the red. Please wind up your speeches as soon as you see the red signal. You just have 30 minutes to do that. At the end of the meeting, when I'm called upon, I will give my report. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, DTM Akbar. We are definitely looking at the time and going to ensure that we stick to the agenda. And to introduce the next role player, I have somebody who is an inspiration and a role model to a lot of us. Toastmaster Marcy, who is the hour counter for today. There's something about her, her enthusiasm that is very contagious. In fact, you must see her playing the role of a joke master. She has everyone in splits. Toastmaster Marcy is an ex-bank employee and has been an ICG Toastmaster or a member of the ICG Toastmasters Club since its inception once again. She's a great asset to the Toastmasters fraternity in Goa and brings a lot of experience and enthusiasm to the table. Toastmaster Marcy, tell us a little bit more about the role of the hour counter.
Greetings, Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmasters, and esteemed guests, and a very happy new year to each and every one of you. The purpose of the hour counter is to note words and sounds that are used as during the meeting. I will listen for overused words, including and, well, but, so, and you know. I will also listen for filler sounds, including and I will note when a speaker repeats a word or phrase such as I mean, and phrases like that. At the end of the meeting, I will report the number of times that each person used these expressions. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. That's all I have to say. Wonderful. When Sartor asked me who the two TMODs are, I said there's going to be the beauty and the beast. You've heard the beauty, and you'll probably now hear the beast. Okay? And the beast is in front of you. Toastmasters and guests, I'm gleeful to see Farida. I'm gleeful to see Farida here on the entire screen. She is the screen of Goa. Can you somebody put Farida there, please? Can somebody put Farida on the screen, please? Yes, yes. Can you see her expression? Oh God, Farida. I can't express how much I am indebted to you. The entire Toastmaster fraternity is indebted to you. So if you see her furiously taking notes, you're all going to get a note this night. Believe me. And I'm going to get the biggest one because she's constantly improving. Fellow Toastmasters, yes, every Toastmaster meeting, believe me, has three segments. One, what I call the prepared speeches segment. The prepared speeches segment. So, can we have our Toastmaster of the day take us forward on the prepared speeches segment? The beauty will take us forward to the prepared speeches segment. So,
thank you, DTM Umesh. You are too kind to call me that. But yes, we will begin with the first segment of the Toastmasters meeting. Before we start with the prepared speeches, I would like to introduce one more role player who is not a regular feature of every Toastmasters meeting. So I really have to give it to the ICG Toastmasters Club that this is a role that they have introduced in the last few months, and they have found so much value in it that many other clubs in Goa have begun to follow suit. This is the role of a listener, and this is the listen up segment. So the role of the listener today will be played by a very young and new Toastmaster of the ICG Toastmasters Club, Toastmaster Joanne. Now, Toastmaster Joanne is a history enthusiast and aspiring to a career as a history instructor. Her interests lie in reading books, in theater, and in classical Indian dance, very specifically Kathak. Now, her New Year's resolution is to read a minimum of 40 books this year. Isn't that amazing? It makes me gleeful to think that somebody has an aspiration like that, and I'm sure she will meet it by the end of this year. Over to you, Toastmaster Joanne.
Ever since 2020 began, all we could hear was wear a mask, sanitize your hands, maintain social distancing. Despite all of this, the virus keeps spreading. Do you know why? It is simply because we hear the SOP, but it goes in one ear and out the other. I want this pandemic to end. It's so frustrating, right? We all want to go back to those normal days, attend meetings in offline mode, and enter the new year with new hope. Am I right? Yes. Therefore, in order to make sure that you all listen attentively, I, Joanne Vas, will be your listener for today, and I will test your listening skills. During the course of the meeting, I will note down interesting tidbits of information from any of the speaker and ask questions based on it near the end of the meeting to see if everyone was paying attention. So everyone, gear yourselves up already, and all the best. Over to you, TMOD.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Joanne. You are so right.
Thank you, Joanne. Thank you, Joanne. It was wonderful. A child of role players. Believe me, if talking of 2022, I'm a little what to have. I'm going to give you some secrets at the end of the thing, because believe me, there is more. Okay, for instance, I've already told you about freedom. I'm also telling about some of the details here. We know a little more. Believe me, we know a little more. And that's why we are here. And I'll tell you, I'm going to give some tips at the end of the meeting when I finish, because if you're going to hear it all from me now, you will probably just put off your videos and go back. And that's something that I don't want it to be. So, over the views to start the prepared speeches.
Sure. Thank you, DTM Umesh. I think we're facing a little bit of network issues from your end. I'm not sure whether it was just me that couldn't hear a few of the words in between, or is it everyone who is experiencing the same? In any case, like we had decided, we will go ahead with the prepared speeches segment. This is the part where speakers have decided upon a speech beforehand. They have worked on a speech based on a manual that they're following or a path that they're following, and they have practiced, they've learned the speech, memorized it, and practiced it. This is for the benefit of guests. So our first speaker for today is a self-proclaimed tall, dark, and handsome 25-year-old doctor who's here in Toastmasters to network and market himself to all the single ladies in the house. And that, rules me out immediately. but I love that enthusiasm, Toastmaster Yash. Now, Toastmaster Yash will be doing his level 3 project 1 speech from the strategic relationships path. His speech is going to be evaluated by DTM Farida. DTM Farida, could you read out the objectives of Toastmaster Yash's speech, please?
Let me start by wishing all of you present here a happy, dippy, doppy, pippy, poppy, whatever type of new year you want for the rest of the year, but ensure that it's gleeful and we always see a smile on your face when you'll join us. My speaker, 25-year-old Dr. Yash, very much available. Include me in your list of singles. I am looking forward to your speech where you have entitled it, "Not networking is like not working." Loved it. Okay. What is the purpose of Yash's, Toastmaster Yash's speech? Okay. He's supposed to not only deliver a speech that includes a story or stories about networking, but also the value of networking or some aspect of it that he has gained through this experience. But most important is he will display to us or demonstrate to us how to develop and practice a personal strategy for building connections through networking. Timer for your information, the speech is from 8 to 10 minutes. 8 will be the green, 9 will be the yellow, and 10, of course, Yash, you'll have to bury yourself then. My best wishes to you, Toastmaster Yash.
Toastmaster Yash, not networking is like not working. Not networking is like not working. Toastmaster Yash.
Thank you, Toastmaster. A popular quote by Team Sanders goes that, is everyone able to hear me properly? Is it all right?
Yes.
A popular quote by Team Sanders goes something like, our network is something that is going to build our net worth. And I'm sure everyone has heard this particular quote somewhere down the line, and every one of us has their own set of networks. I, for one, have 1,500 Facebook friends, 1,000+ connections on Instagram, LinkedIn, and various other professional and social media networks. But I realized in the recent time that when I'm at work and I want to have something to eat or grab a bite, I tend to gleefully go to the canteen or the restaurant and have a bite of my own. I don't really depend on anybody else. And that just got me thinking that it is not the size of your network which matters, but what you do with your network is what makes a big difference. A very good evening, respected Toastmasters and guests present here today. Most of the ICG Toastmasters, my home club, will know what I have been doing professionally. But for the benefit of the YMCA club members who we might be networking for the first time, and also the guests, just a brief introduction about myself. So basically, I am Toastmaster Dr. Yash Verekar, and I've done my graduation from Goa Medical College. Afterwards, I was working in the Department of Neurology for 1 year, and I've answered my postgraduate entrance exam now in the month of September. And because of various political and legal conundrum, the counseling has been postponed by a couple of months. To be frank, this COVID pandemic has created a lot of chaos in everybody's head. Even this meeting, which was supposed to be a physical meeting, has been converted into an online meeting only because of COVID. But the same COVID has affected my life also, and my counseling got postponed by nearly 10 months. So that being said, I thought to myself, why waste this particular time? And let us use this time for my own experience. So I decided to consult one senior surgeon from Manipal Hospital, who I had been interacting with for quite some time. And just to brief every one of you all, I had an opportunity to interact with this consultant surgeon 4 years back when we met for a conference. And it was a restaurant in Panjim. We were after the conference was done, we were having dinner, and we were at the buffet counter. And I'm a pretty tall person. I'm 6 feet 4 inches tall for people who might not know me. And the consultant is not really that tall as me. So we were at the counter taking gulab jamun, I remember, and my sir was just in front of me. He collected his gulab jamun, and as he was moving ahead, he just looked behind, looked on top at me, and like, you're pretty damn tall. And I looked down at sir, and I'm like, hell yeah. And one thing led to another, and we started interacting, and we just hit it off really well. I had an opportunity to work with him on multiple camps which we organized. We even had a research publication which we did together. And so over time, I just thought because of my unique situation currently, wherein my counseling is postponed by a couple of months, so I interacted with him. And he was like, don't worry, my dear friend. We will get you an interview with the medical superintendent at Manipal Hospital. So he sent a couple of messages. In 2 days, he replied to me that I have set up an interview for you on 30th of November, 2021. So I attended the medical superintendent interview. They sent me to the HR, answered a test, filled some form. And the medical superintendent was like, you can join from tomorrow onwards if you want. So that being said, from 1st of December, I am officially in front of you all as the critical care resident medical officer at Manipal Hospital. And this, my dear friend, was only possible because of the power of networking. I'm not saying that my consultant, sir, did some favor on me by putting in some under the table word with the medical superintendent. But the very fact that he promoted me and gave me a nudge on the back, that go ahead, my dear son. And if there's any problem, I am there for you. That was the biggest motivation for me, which got me to this particular position. So this was like a small anecdote from my life, how networking helped me in the current juncture that I am at. And I'm sure every one of us has had similar experiences in their life also. I want everyone to switch on their mics, switch on their videos, and let us just interact. So I want to ask everyone, which event or which program that we attend has the maximum amount of networking potential according to us? Which event has the maximum networking potential? Anyone?
Toastmasters.
Weddings.
Definitely. Yes. Anyone else?
Toastmaster conferences.
Tanban.
Definitely.
When you're speaking, Yash.
I think Sanban is the reason that has caused the
speaking.
online meeting over here.
Yes. And when you're speaking, Yash.
Another unconventional, a very unconventional networking event, which I realized in the recent past, have been the weddings that we attend. In the last 2 months, we have had so many weddings, I tell you, and every single time I found this one random auntie. And being a Hindu wedding, this random auntie, they'll just come up to me and they'll be like, "Hey Yash, you recognize me now?" They'll ask. And I look at them and I must have seen them like 10, 15 years back when I was like a nanna manna bucha and not like 6 feet 4 inches tall I am now. So I have to say, yes, auntie, I recognized you. But then I just look at my mom from the side. And then after, the auntie goes and talks to mom. And this has happened 3 occasions in the last 2 months. The random auntie goes to my mom and she goes, "Are Surajbala, you all have started searching for a guy for Yash. Searching for a girl for Yash." And at that point of time, she follows on and she just says that, "Don't worry, I have the most perfect girl for Yash." And that just gets me thinking at times that how can this random auntie like 15 years ago know the best girl for me in my life, but I myself don't know who I am looking for as a life partner. But that being said, in the recent years, I've realized that I have to gleefully accept all these statements which are made by this random auntie ji. And yes, I have come to a realization that a 25-year-old single doctor who is about to join his post-graduation degree on merit, who has more than a decent salary, comes from a business class family, and mind you, is the only son. I have to take acknowledgement of all of this Auntie G statement. If some of y'all did not recognize what I was trying to hint at, all the single ladies in this particular meeting room, I'm trying to network with y'all to try to get a meeting set up between us. All those lovely ladies in this group who have nieces at home maybe. So y'all can go back home today and inform your nieces that for a change, y'all have the most perfect guy for her. And maybe if everything works out well, the Toastmasters fraternity of Goa might have another lovey-dovey couple in their Toastmasters group. The current title of which is being held by DTM Umesh and Toastmaster Sharmila. So, but I feel being good with them, Toastmaster Umesh also will not mind that title being transferred to his little Yash. Won't you, DTM Umesh? So that being said, networking, I feel, in simple terms, if I have to describe, it is like connecting the dots. We, as two clubs, are networking over here at a much higher level. So I took an opportunity to draw a small artwork for you all, how I would describe networking for everyone. So I have this small artwork which defines this is like the entire club, Toastmasters Club, and all the dots are the Toastmasters members. So the central dots were the original members who founded the club. And from them, we got new members, the second level. From them, we got the third level members, fourth level members, and so on. Some members which I've highlighted as a block, they are currently active. Maybe the ones which are not highlighted, they, because of various reasons, have not been able to be active in Toastmasters group. But definitely, over time, over years, it has created a beautiful artwork in front of us. And now, we are having a joint meeting between two clubs. So this is the second club. So we are trying to overlap these two clubs to form even more beautiful artwork by overlapping these two clubs. So this, according to me, I might be a bad artist, but I think you got a fair idea of what I'm trying to say. I've been a part of Toastmasters for around 2.5 to 3 years. And the secret to networking, which I have realized through Toastmasters, is the ability to join this same very dots. And when we are able to join this dot, we network and we create a connection between every one of us. So when we are marching into 2022, let us take it up upon ourselves and make a resolution. So we might have an online meeting or a physical meeting. We might have various events or just a random dinner which we go to, or weddings. Let us make it a point to go out there and network with people. When an online meeting is there, let us get up from our chair, go in front, switch that mic on, switch that video on, and let us interact during the break time. The more that we network, the more beautiful this artwork is going to be. And this artwork, my dear friend, is going to last for a lifetime. So ladies and gentlemen, let us take it up upon ourselves to increase our network and make this life much more artistic. So let us take it up as a challenge to go out there and create a very unique artwork between you and me. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Yash, for that really inspiring speech. I completely agree that we need to network more. For some reason, that artwork of yours had an uncanny resemblance with the COVID virus. Sorry, that's the only thing that's on my mind right now. So we need to first get that out of the way before we can actually, start networking. But thank you, Toastmaster Dr. Yash. And I'm really looking forward to actually meeting you face to face again. I think the last time we met was for a Christmas meeting a couple of years back, if I'm not mistaken. And we need to march forward and get to that position again sometime soon. All right, our next speaker for today believes that reading is like eating out of a box of candies. Once you start, you just cannot stop. I'm talking about Toastmaster Shukr. Now, Toastmaster Shukr is one of the young Toastmasters of the Goa YMCA Toastmasters Club. And when he talks to you about the importance of reading, he is not just preaching, and not only is he practicing, but he's actually giving us books that we can read from. Toastmaster Shukr has written a couple of books himself. One of them is a collection of articles and poems called For Better and For Verse, or Verse, For Better or Verse with a V. And you can find his books on Amazon. But he's one of our enthusiastic, intelligent speakers with a very sardonic sense of humor. In fact, I'm sure you will see a lot of it in the speech today. He has participated in the humorous speech contest and won it at the club level, area and division level. For the benefit of guests, we do have speech contests in the Toastmasters fraternity, and that's a really fun thing that happens. Now, Toastmaster Shukr will be doing his level 1 project 3 speech from the leadership development path. And his speech will be evaluated by Toastmaster Vishwaja. Toastmaster Vishwaja, could you tell us a little bit more about his speech and read out his speech objectives?
Thank you, Toastmaster Runa. Toastmaster Shukr is doing his level 1 project 3 in his path Persuasive Influence. And this is a research and presenting speech. The purpose of this speech is to learn or review basic research methods and present a well-organized and well-researched speech on any topic. And I'm very curious to know what it is going to be, because the speech title is Holy Cows. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vishwaja. Toastmaster Shukr, Holy Cows. Holy Cows, Toastmaster Shukr.
If the cow is the mother to anyone at all, it is the bullock, not the Hindus. These are the words of Vinayak Damodar Savarkar, the ideological mentor of the very people who today are calling for a ban on cows. On that ironic note, a very good evening to all. Ever since independence, there have been a multitude of issues plaguing the country, such as poverty, unemployment. None of these.
Master
Instead,
Shukr, I'm just
we will be
going to
talking about.
There seems to be a bit of a network issue. We just lost the last 3-4 sentences that you said. So maybe you can go back.
Okay, should I start again? Yeah.
All right, fine.
I don't mind starting again. Yes.
Okay, start again.
Yeah, I'll just adjust the network.
It seems better now. I think Toastmaster Shukra's screen has frozen.
We can request him to maybe put the video off in case he wants to get
Right.
better bandwidth.
Toastmaster Shukra, why don't you switch your video off and continue with your speech?
He has dropped off.
Oh, okay. Go on to the next.
Shukra is there in the room.
He's there? Okay. Toastmaster Shukra, if you can unmute your mic and let us know whether you're in a position to continue, you can keep your video off. No response.
I think he's still having network, so maybe.
I think it's back.
Toastmaster Shukra, with your permission, shall we move on to the next speaker and come back to you in a bit? I think that will be the best thing to do.
Maybe somebody could just give him a call and tell him that he can keep trying to get back, but we'll continue with the meeting.
Yes, somebody would have to take the responsibility to do that.
Runa,
Yep.
continue.
Okay, fine. So our...
Can you...
Sorry? We'll move on to the third speaker for today. And in the meanwhile, I hope maybe not the timer, if there's maybe Toastmaster Marianne, if you could call him, if one of you could call him and tell him that we are waiting for him to join back again. We'll move on to our next speaker, who is Toastmaster Neeru from the ICG Toastmasters Club. Now, Toastmaster Neeru is an art lover, a homemaker, and is trying to put a smile on everyone's face, everyone who she comes across. She's always eager to learn, and the one thing that she believes in is giving and receiving are the same flow of energy in the universe. Now, incidentally, Toastmaster Neeru is a past president of the ICG Toastmasters Club, and she's a very vivacious and versatile speaker. Now, her speech is going to be evaluated by Toastmaster. I'm sorry, 1 second. I need to refer to my agenda.
Toastmaster Aarti.
Okay, Toastmaster Aarti. Yes, Toastmaster Aarti, thank you so much. Could you please read her speech objectives?
Yes. A very good evening to all of you. Absolutely gleeful experience today, I'm sure. I've really waited for something like this. I've heard Toastmaster Neeru speak earlier, and this is wonderful that I'm actually getting an opportunity to evaluate her speech. So my speaker today, Toastmaster Neeru, will be presenting her Project 3 Level 2. Her path is innovative planning, and the purpose of her speech today is for her to clearly define how Toastmasters envision mentoring and to share some aspects of her previous experience as a protégé. The title of her speech today is Knock Knock, Who is There? All the very best, Toastmaster Neeru.
Toastmaster Neeru, knock knock, who's there? Knock knock, who's there? Toastmaster Neeru.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
It's Neeru.
Neeru?
Good evening, my fellow Toastmasters and esteemed guests. Initially, the reply to this question, Neeru who, used to be Mr. Sukhita's daughter. For last more than 2 decades, it's Mrs. Khera. And for more than a decade, I proudly say Neil Khera's mother. But recently something happened with me, which made me realize that I can proudly add one more identity to my name. So let me share that experience with you all. It so happened that a couple of months back, I was invited to Shada Mandir Junior School to be one of the judges for their Poems Come Alive competition. As I reached the school and met up with the coordinator, she assigned another teacher to escort me to the venue where this event was to take place. As we were walking towards the venue, this teacher, probably to break the ice, started talking to me. She said, I think you're friends with Dr. Sangeeta Amonkar because I see you walking on the beach every day with her. At that moment, the quote which was echoing my mind was, be careful while choosing your friends because association is perception and perception is reality. But I'm sure I must have got double click from this teacher and she must have thought that I am a good person. Then she went on to say, at Toastmasters, you are my son's mentor. Believe me, my friends, I felt so proud to be addressed as a mentor by a teacher who must have taught my own son when he was a student at Chakamandir. Although I was itching to ask her that what was her son's opinion about me as a mentor, but I just controlled myself. And I drifted on to thinking that how I reached here to be known as a mentor. And for that, I have just one person to thank for, and that is my own mentor, Toastmaster Sharmila. Toastmaster Sharmila introduced me to this amazing world of Toastmasters. And she has mentored me from the day one till today in my last 3-year journey from being a protege to a mentor. And I believe that Toastmaster Sharmila must be having some hidden magical powers. Because otherwise, how? This Niru, who was not only stage shy but stage scared, is today guiding others to fight their fears of public speaking. So Toastmaster Sharmila, along with your innumerable achievements in your life, you can proudly add one more, that you are an excellent, outstanding, and magical mentor. In my experience of being a protege at ICG Toastmasters Club, I joined the club on the very first day I attended their meeting as a guest. I fell in love with these speeches, the enthusiasm, and the evaluations. And yes, you're right, I did not mention the table topics. I was called for the table topics, and I could not manage to speak even for a minute. But today, standing here, I hope that there was a system of carry forward of those minutes, and I could add it to my speech today to share all my experiences with you. Now, thinking about ICG, I believe the success of our club, the main reason is the mentor-mentee system. Because through this system, actually all of us, the members, are able to achieve our goals of being a better speaker and leaders. And that adds on to the success of our own club. My success, I can give the entire credit to my mentor, Toastmaster Sharmila. Whatever I have learned through these 3 years, the credit goes to my mentor. But I have surely learned a lot through my mentees also. My mentees being from different age groups, different temperaments, and different mindsets, have taught me to think differently from a different perspective of one objective. They have taught me to be a better listener for sure. They have taught me to be analytical and have learned to be empathetic and diplomatic in putting my ideas into their brains. That how they can use their words to be more impressive and acceptable. This mentor-mentee system truly proves that same saying that giving and receiving are the same flow of energies in this universe. I have learned a lot from my mentor. I have tried my best to forward it to my mentees. But on the other hand, my mentees have helped me to be a better person. I have gained so much love, affection, and respect that it has added on to my self-confidence. I am the live example of the success of this mentor-mentee system. If I can transform from a shy introvert to a proud immediate past president of a successful club, so everybody can. Now, the success of this mentor-mentee system lies with the mentor, surely, because they have to be available for their mentees. They have to be active listeners. They have to be diplomatic, everything. But the main thing lies with the mentees. Because the mentees should be adaptable, should be respectable. They should be open to suggestions and they should learn and improve. So if I knock today and say, knock, knock, who's there? It's mentee to one and mentor to some. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Neeru. That was a really passionate, little speech advocating the success and the quality of mentoring in Toastmasters for the benefit of guests. Whenever a new Toastmaster joins, he or she is always assigned a slightly senior Toastmaster as a mentor who guides and takes him or her through the first few speeches and just hand holds him, during the first few speeches. And then you can see the success in a speaker like Toastmaster Neeru, who is also the immediate past president of the ICG Toastmasters Club. Now, I'm just going to ask all of you to take a moment to give both Toastmaster Neeru and Toastmaster Yash, who spoke just before her, some feedback on their speeches. We'll take about 30 seconds to give them some feedback. You can either direct message them or you can just share it in the chat box for all to see. That would be very encouraging for them. The feedback that we give each and every speaker makes a big difference. I know how I have grown and learned and evolved as a speaker, as a Toastmaster, and as a person, thanks to the feedback that I received. So I'm hoping that some of you are typing in that feedback for both Toastmaster Neeru and Toastmaster Yash. In the meanwhile, I'm going to ask Toastmaster Shukra if he's in a position to speak. Toastmaster Shukra, would you be able to go ahead with your speech now?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay, so just give us another 15 seconds maybe.
Yes.
I'm hoping to see some feedback pop up there in the chat box to those two wonderful speeches that we just heard.
Just a request, can we do a sound and a visual check before?
Yes, absolutely.
Before I proceed?
Go ahead, Shukra. Yes.
Yes. Am I audible and visible? I hope there's no lag in the streaming.
Initially it was fine, but there does seem to be a bit of a lag. What about if you switch your video off? Would that help?
Just a minute.
Runa, can I suggest something?
Sure.
Can I suggest something?
Yes.
Runa, I think we'll allow Shukur to get ready. We should take a break now.
Okay.
We will take a break now, fellow Toastmasters and guests, because we are going to close this. We're not exactly going to close because we are waiting for Shukur. So what we'll do is we are going to come back exactly at 8:10. So all those who are going to put in their inputs about the speakers can do so. Shukur can also get ready. But what's going to happen next is I'm going to get the table topic session. And I want you guys all to be there. So take a break. And Shukur, be ready. We'll tell you.
Yes.
We'll tell you.
I'm ready.
We'll tell you when the break, after the break is over, and when things are in session, we will get back to you. Okay?
Isn't there one more speech of Rajesh now?
Yes. We have that speech. We have that speech. We are aware of that. And that is the reason why we're going as per the agenda. We are at 8 o'clock. We want to take the break now. And at 8:10, we'll get back. Ladies and gentlemen, you are at marching towards 2022.
Did we lose Toastmaster Umesh? Or okay, this is break time. Let's take a 5-minute break and be back at.
I'm there. Runa, I'm there.
Okay, okay, sure. So 8:10, we're all back here.
No. Networks. Lag.
Fellow Toastmasters, it's just going to be a minute to 8:10. I want you to get back. I want you to get back because we are a fraternity of people who are very keen on time. And can I see everybody's video on if it's possible so that I can know? I know that most of you all are there. Yes, 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 yes. I can see yes, yes, and yes, 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 yes.
Toastmaster Umesh.
Yes, I can hear you too. I can hear
Yes,
you too. Don't
is there
listen
still
to
a
me.
lag?
We will check that. Don't worry. We are going over to the new session, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. We are marching towards 2022. And what happened in 2021? What happened in 2021, fellow Toastmasters and guests? We were faced with difficult situations. Believe me, we were faced with difficult situations. And difficult situation which caused for difficult decisions. And most of us took difficult decisions. Almost every one of us did that as well. We as Toastmasters were trained to handle, difficult decisions. So that's why 2020 and 2021 are a thing of the past. And I'm looking forward to 2022. And 2022 is going to be that year which we have to look forward to. And to start my session, which is the table topics session, I have a unique Toastmaster today, a very young Toastmaster, and she is Tahira. Can we?
Toastmaster Umesh, shouldn't we complete the 2 speeches?
No, it's okay.
Okay.
Runa,
fine.
We are going as per the agenda. Okay.
Fine.
We will get back to the speeches as soon as we finish. Please.
Okay. Once table topics is done.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes. So, Tyra is a young student, and believe me, when we have these young people around, we're happy to see them take on new roles. She's a recent Toastmaster, having joined the club a month ago, and we thought that this is a good opportunity for having her straight into the ocean, straight into the deep sea, as we would say that. And Tahira, we're most happy to have you here this evening. We would love to see how you conduct the table topic session. I know that it's difficult to get somebody at your age to do a session like this, but believe me, we're all behind. We're all behind you because we want you to succeed. We want you to do well. We want you to understand that Toastmasters is a platform where young people like you do well. And Tahira, believe me, I believe personally. Do you all believe that Tahira will do well? Somebody, can you all raise your hands if you believe?
You're on mute, Toastmaster Umesh.
Thank you.
Tahira, can you take over from me and start your session?
Of course, I will. Everyone. People are just people. They shouldn't make you nervous. Good evening, Toastmasters of the day, DTM Umesh, TM Runa, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. I'm absolutely sure that every one of us has faced difficulty in speaking when spoken to. Imagine you are hired by a preeminent company and you're obviously gleeful, confident, but your boss comes up to you and says, why don't you email us and tell us where do you see yourself in the next year or 2 at the company? When he says that, your mind goes blank and your confidence falters. And this is when we realize that we need to practice our impromptu communication. So let's take this opportunity and make it the first step to our New Year's resolution. So I'm Tahira Pereira, a recent TM, and I'll be your table topics master this evening. Table topics is an opportunity where the guests and members can practice their impromptu speaking. And I'll be introducing a topic, and the members and guests can obviously freely volunteer. But if no one volunteers, then I'll be calling on somebody. And I'll be giving the speaker at least 1 to 2 minutes to speak on the topic. And in case of a debate, 2 to 3 minutes will be given. So let's get started, shall we? Okay, so I want to start off with the debate. And I would like to call upon TM Farida, DTM Farida, and TM Sharmila.
Can
Are
you
you guys
avoid
ready?
taking role
I'll
players,
tell
Tahira? Tahira, can you avoid taking role players? We both have roles. Pick up any of the other members.
Oh, okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Sure. Let me see. Who do I
Shantanu is
choose?
there, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, so I will. Okay. Team Shantanu.
Yep.
Hi. Yes.
Hi.
Okay. So you'll be in this debate.
Okay.
Who else wants to come forward to be the other member for this topic? Anyone? Who wants to go forward? Anyone else?
Anya.
Okay, Team Santorio. Okay, so let me just tell you the guys the topic. It's New Year's resolution is a scam. Who wants to be the pros? Who wants to be against? For?
I'm for that.
Okay, and so we'll be against it. So let's begin.
Okay, so New Year's resolution is a scam because for me, every single year I make the same resolution that this year I will not overthink or I will not stress myself over the little things in life. Just 2 to 3 years back, there was my 12th standard board exams. And I was extremely frantic that I'm going to fail my exams. I'm not going to pass the year. I'll be demoted. But I said, this is 2019 and I will not overthink. But whatever it was, I still overthought it. The next year, the year after that, and even this year, I've even made a note about it saying that 2022 is going to be different for me. And whatever happens this year, I will not overthink. But it's the year, it's not even been 4 to 5 days, but I've already started overthinking. So I think for me, any New Year's resolution is a scam because it's just a reminder that it's false promises. But yeah, that's my opinion on it. The next person.
Okay,
But-
TM Shantanu.
Yeah.
From my little experience in life, when you don't have anything, you have to have hope.
That's true. Hope is also like a resolution at this moment right now. This year I will have it.
Though you have failed before, have hope that you'll succeed this time.
Hopefully.
And as the TMODs said, let's march forward into 2022. And let's make sure that this year's resolution works. And for a guy like you, you don't need to overthink. You're smart, you're handsome, you have got everything. So I'm sure this year's New Year's resolution will work for you.
I don't know if your resolution was to compliment people this year too much because this has just made me blush like anything. But okay. I will rewrite my resolutions for this year and I promise you, Toastmasters Guru, that I will follow it. But since my topic is that I'm against it, I'm still against the fact that New Year's resolutions are a scam. So it is a scam for me.
Since you said that you will follow it, that
No, I will follow it next year. This year, it's still a scam for me.
So you still believe in New Year's resolution, right?
Huh?
So thank you, TM Shantanu.
We'll have to discuss this later.
Yeah. So, yeah, maybe life is not black or white. There are gray areas. So maybe you don't have to start a resolution for New Year, but you can start any day. And yeah, maybe you are not good at public speaking. You don't have to wait for New Year, but maybe any day can be New Year for you.
But I still think the fact that New Year's resolution is a scam. Resolutions are fine. We should make resolutions all over the thing. But why should we have something called New Year's resolution? Why should a New Year be a change in you? We should be 365 days changing ourselves. So maybe instead of saying, I'll have my New Year's resolution, let's say I'll have my day's resolution for today. Tomorrow I'll wake up and I'll do this. Day after tomorrow I'll do that. Let it be that. Let's not say that there's a New Year's resolution or there's a Christmas resolution or something like that. Let's not say this particular day, this particular year, I'm going to change myself. Let's change ourselves every day. So the scam is still there. Let's not be fooled by the New Year's scam. Let's be ourselves.
Exactly, Toastmaster Shantanu. You're right. But since you have already made a New Year resolution, have some hope and live by it.
For sure.
Over to you, Toastmasters. To you.
Wow, guys, you really did it. It's a nice debate that I just heard. Wow. Okay, so let's move on. So, okay. I'll be calling upon TM Tanya. TM Tanya, are you there?
Yeah, I am doing the Zoom master role.
Oh, okay, so you'll be
You
able
can
to
ask the guests actually.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'll ask the guests. Let's see.
Rahul Gavas.
Yeah, okay, let's take him. Rahul, guys, are you gonna come forward to do this?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a question for you, a table topics for you. What if you got promoted to be the CEO of a company? What would you do? The stage is all yours.
Interesting question. Yeah, I mean, probably since I'm working in a company already, I have been associated closely with the management, being in a managerial position. So if I'm promoted to be the CEO, one thing probably first thing would be, I'll start implementing would be a more work-life balance, because in the IT industry, or from where I work, I mean, we have clients from all over the world, and due to being in different time zones, it's always a challenge to maintain a work-life balance. So that is one important thing that I would work upon once I become the CEO. So that, because I mean, once the work-life balance is maintained, most of the issues when it comes to employees would be automatically resolved. So that's the one important area that I would certainly focus if I become the CEO of a company. Thank you.
That's nice. That's nice. Okay, let's give him a round of applause. Good job. Good job. Okay, so let's move on to our next guest.
TM Shilpa.
Okay. Yes, let's do TM Shilpa. Let's do this. Okay. Are you there, TM Shilpa?
Yes, I'm there.
Okay. Let's get going. Okay. Every day is a New Year's Day to me. You may begin.
Okay, thank you, Table Topic Master, Toastmaster Tahira. So every day is a new beginning, and every day is a New Year's Day for me. That is what I sincerely believe in, because we should look each day as an opportunity for us to do better than the last day, than yesterday. So I don't believe in making a resolution or waiting for the new year to turn a new leaf. I gleefully accept every day as it comes, and I sincerely believe that we have to not stick on to a certain day or a certain time to reform ourselves. We can do better than yesterday. Today can be better than yesterday, and tomorrow will naturally follow suit. So according to me, what we have to look forward is to see each day as it comes and take each day at a time. So I believe in that strongly, and thank you, Toastmaster Taira.
Sorry, my mic was on mute. Okay, that was really good. Clapping for you. Okay, let's move on. TM Mahadev, are you there?
No, he's not in the room, and we are out of guests, and non-role players. So maybe Tanya, you can take the next table topic.
Okay.
Yeah, Taira, go ahead.
Okay. Okay, I'll give you a good one. Okay. So, just a moment. Okay, I'm already perfect. I don't take New Year's resolutions. Okay, take the seat.
Oh, that's like a topic I need to speak on. I'm already perfect. I don't take New Year resolutions seriously.
Yeah.
To be very clear, I really don't make any New Year resolutions because I really don't know what will happen in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or 15 minutes. So if someone asks me what is my goal in another 1 year, I'll be like, I don't know. Because I truly believe that I need to do my best. I try to make small goals each day, that this is what I want to improve, and then reflect back on what I've learned and what I've improved. So that's how I work. I wouldn't say I'm perfect. I'm still learning, trying to make myself better, being a better human being, and yeah, learning new things, because I always feel like I'm very curious. Yeah, that kind of really keeps me going. So I feel that no one is perfect. Everybody is just learning, just being better at what they're doing. Yeah, so that's what I really want to say. So I'm not perfect, but I don't have any New Year resolution. Over to you, Toastmaster Tahira.
That's very true. Very well spoken. Okay, do we have time for another speaker, maybe another guest to take a topic? Time Akbar, TM Akbar. Do we have time?
I think we should go with the speeches. Let's wind up the table.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much, Akbar. If Akbar, you weren't there, believe me, we would have just collapsed. Believe me. We are here at this particular meeting, and I'll tell you some instances why 2021 was like A and why we should go towards B. For instance, I would never wear my spectacles during 2021 because I would not like to show my face with my spectacles. Okay. Now you may ask me the reason why. I felt I was not looking good, for instance. And then what am I going to do in 2022? I've already started doing. I'm wearing my spectacles. So this is some things which I'm going to say, which we did in 2021. I'm not going to be very serious. I'm going to be a little bit humorous on this front. As we can see Sartoro's son popping out from his this thing. This is what we are going to see in 2022, because 2021 was always pushing people back. Don't do this, please. We are here. We are this. We don't look, because 2022 is different, and that is why I feel that as Tyra closed table topic session, we would like to ask the timer if the table topic speakers qualify.
Except for the first duo, I think others have qualified.
Very good. Thank you, Akbar. So I'm going to ask the president here, who, and of course, my small section of the deciding authorities here. Should we go on to the general evaluation segment as it is close to 8:30 and not allow the prepared speakers to continue? I'm only asking Sartor and my TMOD, which is, of course, Runa. Can you just tell us if would you like to go ahead and so that, because I suspect that if we continue with the prepared speeches and take up the prepared speeches, we would go beyond 10 o'clock. This is my opinion. I leave it to you.
Yeah, in my opinion, we should continue, but in case of any glitches, then we don't continue.
Okay, good.
In case
I like that.
Speaker.
Okay, okay. And you will tell me, Sator, when you want to close the session, because it is now in your hands now. Now, can we check with Runa? Are you ready with Shukr?
Yes, I think
Good.
Toastmaster Shukra, if you're around, we will continue with your speech.
Yes, I'm ready. Yes.
All right. So,
should I switch on my video or leave it off?
I think maybe you could leave it off for now, because the last time we had trouble with it. So I'll just announce your speech title once. Okay, you can keep it on if it works. And Toastmaster Shukra is going to be delivering his speech titled Holy Cows.
If the cow is the mother to anyone at all, it is the bullock and not the Hindus. These are the words of Vinayak Damodar Savarkar, the ideological mentor of the very people who today are calling for a ban on cow slaughter. On that ironic note, a very good evening to all. Ever since India got its independence, there have been a multitude of issues plaguing the country, such as poverty, unemployment, malnutrition, homelessness, terrorism, and so on. So today, we will be talking about none of these. Instead, we will be talking about beef, because for the last few decades, the biggest topic of debate in India has been, should the consumption of beef and the slaughter of cows be legal in India? But to answer that question, we need to answer a lot of others. Firstly, what is beef? A common misconception amongst Indians is that beef equals only cows. Not true. Beef comes from cows, bulls, buffaloes, and water buffaloes, which accounts for most of the beef in India. So now let's come to cows. The first argument against cow slaughter is, bro, India is a Hindu country and Hindus have never eaten beef. Like never, ever, ever. Again, not true on both aspects. It may be so that 80% of the population in India is Hindu, but the preamble to the Constitution of India clearly states that India is a secular country, which means that every Indian is free to practice his religion the way he so pleases, and no religion can be favored over others. And secondly, it is again incorrect to say that Hindus have never eaten beef. According to a couple of very well-researched books, such as Professor D.N. Jha's The Myth of the Holy Cow, Brahmins in the Vedic and Aryan ages actually sacrificed cows and consumed their meat. In fact, the cow was considered as a measure of wealth. And that's when Gautam Buddha came into the picture and spoke to the farmers. Guys, don't kill cows, guys. But why? Burgers are awesome, bro. Because if you kill less cows, you will have more cows and you will be rich. Woohoo! Buddhism rocks. With more and more people shifting to Buddhism, the Brahmins altered their marketing strategy. These Buddhists are stealing all our market, man. What is this nonsense? You know what? No killing cows. Cows are awesome. And to this day, many Hindus don't consume beef. But at the same time, there are sections of Hindus who have no problem with eating beef. In fact, Kerala, with its 55% Hindu population, has no restrictions whatsoever on cattle slaughter. Now let's come to a very important question. Should beef be banned in India? For a moment, let's put all religious and communal aspects to one side. As a country, India is the world's largest exporter of beef. It's the 5th largest producer of beef and the 7th largest consumer of beef. We make $4.3 billion every year from exports of beef. That's twice the GDP of Bhutan. And people love Indian beef. In fact, Bangladeshis love it so much, they have been stealing it from us for years. In 2014, an estimated 17 lakh buffaloes was smuggled from India to Bangladesh. And for a minute, let's put all of this aside and think about one critical aspect. Around 22 lakh people are employed either directly or indirectly in the cattle slaughter business, whereas the leather industry, which is heavily dependent on cattle slaughter, employs even more. That is 35 lakh people. So one thing is certain, we are going to pay a huge price in more than one sense if cow slaughter is banned in India. So now let's come to a question which a lot of people are asking. Can beef be banned in India? Yes and no. According to Article 48 of the Constitution, under the chapter Directive Principles of State Policy, it shall be the endeavor of the government to take all steps to prohibit the slaughter of cows and calves. However, the four of you who remember your civics from school will know that directive principles aren't legally enforceable. They're more like guidelines. That apart, technically, there can never be a nationwide ban on beef in India, because according to Article 246 of the Constitution, cattle slaughter is a subject that can be addressed only by the individual states. So technically speaking, beef can never be entirely be banned in India, unless of course a political party with a right-wing nationalist manifesto somehow manages to take over every state in the country. I mean, what are the odds of that happening, right? Hashtag sarcasm. So now coming to the real issue. As some of you might remember, roughly 6 years back in Dadri in Uttar Pradesh, a man was allegedly beaten to death and his son injured by a mob following a rumor that his family was involved in cattle slaughter. A man was killed under the suspicion that his family may have consumed beef which may have come from a cow. Reports suggested that the killers had political affiliations as well. A member of a religious outfit even came out in the public and said that this is exactly what should happen to those who consume beef. What's ridiculous is that the opinions of millions of people are formed by the words of these leaders. That's where we are right now as a country today. The cow is no longer just a sacred animal. The cow is no longer just a provider of milk and food and livelihood. The cow is a tool for propaganda. It is being used by people as an excuse to hurt other people who don't share their beliefs under the garb of nationalism. That's not nationalism, that's anarchy. Over to the TMOD.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shukra, for that impassioned and rather eye-opening speech. Hashtag sarcasm, that's something I really took away from the speech. Besides, of course, many other enlightening points. Now, I'm going to request the audience to kindly give your feedback to Toastmaster Shukra on his speech. And in the interest of time, I'm going to move on to our next speaker, our last speaker for today, who is Toastmaster Rajesh. He has been the twice president of the Goa YMCA Toastmasters Club and is by profession an architect and interior designer. His speech is going to be evaluated by Toastmaster Gajanan. May I request you to read out his speech objectives, please?
Toastmaster Rajesh, you are doing your level 2 project 2 on understanding your communication style. There are two primary objectives of your project. The first objective is identify different communication style, and in that you have to identify your communication style. And second aim is to demonstrate the impact of your communication style on the people around you. All the best, Rajesh. You have 5 to 7 minutes, and your speech title is The Day I Popped the Question. All the best.
Go ahead, Toastmaster Rajesh.
31st October 1996. It was an unusual slow day at our college. With the semester work done, most of the students were just lazing around, except myself. Because in those young days as an architect, I had my tryst with a winged teacher, Cupid, and I had fallen for an unassuming girl next door. But as most of my fellow Toastmasters know, I am a very shy person. And in those days, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being super confident, 1 being super shy, I was minus 25. I wouldn't even look at a girl, just forget proposing. But here I was. After months of silent admiration, I had reached the point of no return. And something deep within me said that it was now or never. As the studious student I was, I had practiced all the lines. The pitch, the volume, the tone was all set. And I was sitting on the courtyard railing, strategically placed between the canteen and the library, so that based on an answer, I could either celebrate over a coffee or drown myself in a thick book. As she approached me, I could feel my heart pumping. Just like before a Toastmaster speech, prepared yet nervous. And finally, I found myself face to face with her. I still get goosebumps when I fondly remember that sanguine moment. I expected everything to go Bollywood style. Slow motion, breeze against her hair, my friends frozen, and myself bending like Shah Rukh Khan. But nothing of that happened. The question just popped out of my head, evaporated, and what came out was this. Nidhi, I think I like you, but that does not mean you should too. I have been going through this for a long time and just wanted to tell you and get over with it. I am not looking for an answer right now, but let me know if this could work. Fellow Toastmasters, I know that this sounded more like a half-baked elevator pitch rather than a romantic call for love. There was no vivid imagery. There were no magical words, not even the customary I love you. It was like I went in with a prepared speech and came out giving a table talk. Obviously, she didn't say anything. She just smiled. And thankfully, this was not a Toastmasters Pathway project. Because if it was, I would certainly have to repeat. Well, during the past few days, as I was practicing for this project, I learned the 4 different styles of communication: direct, initiating, supportive, and analytical. And I can realize that my proposal back then was a messy mixture of all of this. But today, as I navigate the choppy waters of married life, my communication style is challenged every single time. And I have to adjust it based on the questions. Honey, do you think I've put on weight? Sweetheart, weight is just a figure. It really doesn't define your health. Supportive, but not direct. Honey, do you think that my chicken dish is better than your mom's? Sweetheart, chicken is a very funny dish. Now, if I'm having it with roti, then certainly I would like to have yours. But if I'm in a hurry and I would like to just get over with it, then I don't mind eating my mom's. Analytical, but not direct. The only time I can be direct is with my son. Papa, can I watch the European Football League on TV tonight? No, you have college tomorrow. My daily arguments with my son over his indiscipline, excessive use of mobile, his lack of purpose in life is an unending saga of direct communication. And I am fed up of being the bad cop. But I am amazed at how Nidhi handles it. To the same question, she will get initiating. She asks him about the team, about the opponents, about the stadium, and then she gently gets to the fact that how his dream of becoming a finance manager of a football team will not be fulfilled until he goes to bed and to college the next morning. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, communication is an art of hearing what is not being said. So whatever your communication style, just do it. Because in today's age of emojis and LOLs, this is the best way to be in touch. It can even be a simple hug. Communication, they say, shapes our relationships, impacts our actions, and thus our destiny. Like it did mine on 31st October 1996. We still celebrate it as the day I popped the question. But I imagine what would have happened if I had it. Or to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rajesh, for that very insightful, entertaining, and humorous speech on communication styles. Very well done. Once again, may I request all the Toastmasters and guests present here to give him some feedback about his speech. And since we have seen all 4 speeches, I'm going to ask the timer if all 4 speakers qualified. DTM Akbar, have all 4 speakers qualified?
Except for the first speaker, others have qualified. Niru, Shukra, and Rajesh have qualified.
Fine. Thank you so much. And I now hand it over to my co-host, TMOD Umesh. Over to you.
What a wonderful session, Runa. I'm amazed. I'm amazed because time and again, we always wonder whether we could pull off a difficult situation. And time and again, Toastmasters have proved that we can get out of difficult situations. And believe me, these situations are not planned. These situations happen and we are able to do it. Now, I'm going to get to that crucial point, which I promised you at the beginning of the meeting is what action do we do to march towards 2022? Okay. And I'm going to say point number 1. Listen to me carefully. Point number 1, forget 2021. I know it's difficult to say that, but please, for heaven's sake, fellow Toastmasters and the entire fraternity, forget 2021, forget 2020. Just think it was a bad dream and think positive. Think positive. I'm not saying that positivity will just come jumping on you, but think the fact that there are better things to think of. You have many people around you. Believe me, Toastmasters and guests, we haven't seen a war in our time. Most of us have not seen a war where there were bullets going around and we were be put into concentration camps and things like that. It's not so bad at all. Definitely what we are at present can be solved. And believe me, as a person who belongs to industry, I can tell you that, yes, it can be solved. Point number 2. Point number 2, listen to me very carefully, is that put a list of things that you would like to achieve in the years to come. I know again you'll be saying, oh, there's a pandemic. How do I put things into perspective? No, gentlemen, please, please, for heaven's sake, if you're not going to put things into a writing pad today, your family will also have the same sort of mentality that you're going to have. Take a pen and paper down today, write down in the next year or the next 5 years, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to visit 18 countries. I'm going to join 14 Toastmaster clubs. Write what you feel like, what's in your heart, please write it down. Don't say this guy's stupid, he doesn't know what he's saying. Believe me, please believe me, because we are marching towards difficult times, but marching towards definitely something much more positive than what we have seen in the past. So, like I said, point number 2, put it down in writing what you plan to do in the coming years. Third, take relationships to a different level. Please take relationships to a different level. You will always wonder why I'm saying that. I'm also very humorously trying to tell you, yesterday's wife may not be tomorrow's wife. So I'm telling you very clearly, look into what you are today. If you are going towards something, think positive about it. There are a lot of things that you can achieve. Like one of my speakers said, I'm going to read 20 books. I'll say, let me read 400 books in 10 years and then split it year-wise. I know it's difficult for people who are not used to reading, but believe me, start a page a day. Start a page a day from tomorrow if you have already not done that. Okay? The next point that I would like to say is, in my action and in my march towards 2022, look at things differently. Look at differently. Farida is so good that she is doing the timer card for me. I'm blessed. I'm really blessed to have Farida here. I'm glad that she is there. And I would now hand over to the general evaluator of the day. So can we have the general evaluator of the day? Yes. Can we have a give?
Thank you, DTM Umesh. Am I audible and visible?
Yes.
Right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Good evening to all of you. And we come to the final segment of today's meeting, and that is the general evaluation. I'm looking at the time simultaneously, and I don't want it to be too long a session wherein we start dragging it. So I'll make it very sharp and concise, yet it is a very important part of our meeting. So it should not be just rushed for the sake of time. All right. Everybody knows, but it is especially for the guests to know that a general evaluator's role is again threefold. The first part is where the evaluators of the speakers will give their evaluations. The second segment is where the tag team, that is the timer, the R counter, the grammarian, as well as the listener will give their report. And the final segment would be where I will give my general views of this entire meeting. So let us start with the first segment, and that is the evaluators' reports. I'd like to call upon the first speaker, Yash's evaluator Toastmaster Farida. Now, to all these evaluators, I asked a simple question keeping to the theme, and that was, as we march forward to 2022, what are you looking forward to change professionally as well as personally? Farida's reply to that was, professionally, she says, she's already on top of the mountains. She's on top of the world. And she is at that place where she wants to now teach others to climb along with her, while then she can sit back and watch them. Beautiful thought. Okay. Personally, of course, a problem, Farida, which all of us are facing. How do we lose weight? How much to lose weight? And the saga continues. All right, so you are not alone in this venture. Toastmaster Farida, DTM Farida, can we have your evaluation of Toastmaster Yesh?
Hello, Toastmasters. Hello again. And the guests. Toastmaster Yash, congratulations. Your speech did justice to every inch of your 6'4". I like the fact that you introduced yourself, where you were and where you are now. A unique example of frontline networking. And your expression was always full of joy and glee. The fact that you have 1,500 Facebook members, 1,000 Twitter. Oh my God, where do you find the time? But again, here is showing that networking is a great example of the benefits of relationships. Your underlying message was, it's not who you know, but who knows you. I loved that part of it. You engaged the participants beautifully in inviting them to share where the maximum amount of networking takes place. Unfortunately, I guess you knew the time limitation, so you didn't allow everybody to come forward, but it was very unique. You eloquently shared some personal experiences in networking, proving its success, and one that resulted in being appointed as a critical care officer at Manipal Hospital. Brian Basilco aptly said, relationships are the currency of business. While Armstrong displayed exactly what you said, networking is an essential building of wealth. The random auntie story was humorous. I loved it. It takes place at almost every wedding, okay? And we learned that it was a great tool for marketing. You need to use it more often. Invite our random auntie all the time to the weddings, okay? Connecting the dots. I liked the way everything went in the flow, and then you gave us a surprise, all right? I liked when you came to the part of connecting the dots and the strategy that you used using Toastmasters, a very unique and creative thought. But here is where my recommendation is, TM Yash. When you want to put up a visual, put it on PowerPoint. It was such a beautiful, creative thought. Okay, I loved it. All right. Okay. So that's my only recommendation for you for the next time. Despite that, clarity and continuity was there throughout. I liked the flow of your speech. The gleeful humor came in at almost every part, and your stories amplified the message that you wanted to convey. Not networking is like not working. Over to you, General Valley.
Thank you, DTM Farida. For the guest, please note, DTM Farida used the exact method of evaluation, the commend, recommend, and commend. At Toastmasters, we believe in appreciation, but it has to be critically put forward too, because every person has to improve at whatever level he or she is. So she has given her commendation. She has really commended the speaker, just injected a couple of recommendations, and then ended it up with her comment also. So that's how we at Toastmasters work. We move on to the second evaluator, and although we are not going according to the agenda because of the changes, I will move on to the second speaker of today. That was Toastmaster Neeru, and her evaluator was Toastmaster Aarti. When I asked her the same question, her reply was, professionally, she wants to constantly enhance and update herself, and this is so important in any profession. Personally, she wants to do what we all want to do. We want to travel more, meet more people. So Toastmaster Aarti, let's list out those 14 or 18 countries that DTM Umesh spoke about and travel, and let's meet more people, hopefully, if we have more offline meetings. Over to you, Toastmaster Aarti. Aarti, are you there?
She's not there in the room right now.
Okay, then is Vishwaja ready to give Shukra's evaluation?
Yep. Yes.
Yeah, and if maybe Neeru could check on Aarti, please, in the meanwhile.
Yeah,
Toastmaster
sure.
Vishwaja was Toastmaster Shukra's evaluator. She said, personally, she wants to work on her mental and fitness health, and both are equally important in today's time and today's situation. So I agree completely with that. And professionally, sky is the limit, she says. And at this point, I agree. You are at that stage where the sky is the limit for you, Vishwaja, and I'm sure you will reach it one day. Over to you, Toastmaster Vishwaja.
Thank you, General Evaluator Toastmaster Sharmila. I believe that when you prepare for a speech, the preparation just doesn't start when you deliver or start practicing the speech. It's when you start writing it. So as you can see from Toastmaster Shuk's title, you can get an insight into his personality. I was looking forward for a very sarcastic speech. I thought that he would have sarcasm involved with the speech, and it was actually there. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests, and my speaker, Toastmaster Shukr. Your topic today was research and presenting. That was the purpose of the project. And you did very well when it came to the research aspect. Now, as an evaluator, it's my personal opinion that Toastmasters shouldn't have speeches which are related to sex, religion, or politics. And there were traces of these topics in your speech. So since everybody is going to have a different opinion about the topic that you gave, I personally would not like to approach the content of your speech. However, I will give you some suggestions and I'll tell you what I liked about your speech delivery so that it can help you improve in future. So the best parts of your delivery is your clear, concise speech. You know exactly which word to emphasize on. You just said may, but you said may in the right tone and with the right pause. So even that may was very well enunciated with the audience. The second thing is I personally like dramatics when you have that in your speech. So when I saw you shifting over when you were doing your dialogues, it really connected well with me. You have sarcastic humor, which Toastmaster Runa spoke about, and we all noticed, which is a very difficult and a very intelligent thing to do, which I am a fan of. So, of course, I really like that element. And I also like that there were some creative elements in your speech, the beginning, or the way you included the dialogues, or the way you included the research when it came to India's constitution. So all of these are constructively your best points. Now, to suggest you some improvements, I would say that humor is very well effective if you use pauses along with enunciation. So I felt personally that even though you had a beautiful content, maybe whenever you wanted to deliver your joke, take a longer pause in comparison to others. Secondly, even though you had facts in your stories, I personally believe that facts tell, but stories sell. So people connect well when you give some personal anecdote of why you came up with the topic in the first place. And accordingly, it gives you enough scope to show facial expressions of happiness, sorrow, and different varieties. And lastly, I feel that you move closer to the screen every time you start a sentence. So maybe you could work on your posture. That being said, all the very best. Toastmaster Shukr. Thank you. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vishwaja. I think Aarti is back on screen. So Aarti, are you ready to give your evaluation?
Yes. Yes.
Go on.
Am I audible and visible? I'm
Yes.
actually using the mobile data.
No, you're good. You're good. We can see you and
Wi-Fi
hear you.
decided to ditch me. Okay.
You're fine.
Done. May I start?
Yes, please.
A very good evening to Toastmasters of the day, fellow Toastmasters, my dear guests, and to my dear speaker for today, Toastmaster Neeru. They say feeling gratitude and not expressing it is like wrapping a present and not gifting it. And you today, Toastmaster Neeru, used this platform to so genuinely express your sincere gratitude to both your mentor and mentee. I really appreciate that. What I also enjoyed about your speech today was the sincere expression of human curiosities and emotions. For instance, when you spoke about the little boy being your mentee and the teacher talking about him, the very natural question that, oh, what did, did I really stand up to his expectations? Or when she mentioned about seeing you at the beach going for a walk, good company really matters. And also when you spoke about times that you stood up for yourself and improved over time, all of those were so relatable. I really enjoyed that part of your speech thoroughly. But a couple of recommendations though. One, I felt was a little fine tuning to the speech, rather the flow of your speech would have helped. For instance, when you spoke about the mentor, you spoke about the mentee, you spoke about the relationship between the mentor and the mentee, and eventually the growth. This flow, I felt at certain places, had a slight back and forth, and a little streamlining there would have made it smoother and a little more to it at the end of it. The second thing was when you spoke about your mentor and about your mentee, personally, I felt a little anecdotes about your experience, about how they actually added value to you, or a few hurdles that you had initially and how they helped you overcome it. Explaining and sharing that experience would have helped get a little more clarity and a little more attention from the audience. Apart from that, Toastmaster Neeru, it was amazing to learn how you have evolved as a person, more as a Toastmaster. And with this little work on the recommendations, you will be further remarkable. All the very best to you. And over to you, Toastmaster Sharma.
Thank you so much, Aarti. Our final evaluator for our final speaker, that was Toastmaster Rajesh, Toastmaster Gajanan. Now, Toastmaster Gajanan said, professionally, he wants to be more efficient at work. Honestly, Gajanan, how much more efficient do you want to become? This is a man who attends all his meetings from office because he's at his office till 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Personally, he says he does want to bring about a better balance to his life as well as his work. Over to you, Toastmaster Gajanan, for your report and evaluation of Toastmaster Rajesh.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sharmila. I request Zoom Master to please spotlight Toastmaster Rajesh. Is there?
Yes, he's spotlighted.
Yeah, Rajesh, please make you on. I want to give you your evaluation.
Yes, of course.
Thank you, Zoom Master. Okay. It is said that silliest question is one which you don't ask. And I feel that half of the men in this world are silly because they never ask the question the girl they love, including me. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. What a great and remarkable speech, Toastmaster Rajesh. You connected your speech very well with the audience and with me. Despite being in a scale of -25 on the level of confidence, you dare to ask the question, and what tone you choose, what the choice of words, the physical gesture. I almost felt like coming to you and giving you useful tip. Now the second comment I want to give you, you demonstrated different communication style, the supportive one, the analytical, the direct, the pros and cons of the different communication style. And you demonstrated how you use this communication style with your peers, with your family, with your child. And you made a nice statement, and this is one of the takeaway for me, that communication is something which you understand where what a person doesn't tell. and it is said that 80% communication is non-verbal, and you made a great statement, and that is a takeaway for me. Now the recommendation, I would say only one thing, that is you gave weightage more to your story rather than though you demonstrated different communication style, but you I felt that you could have given more the pros and cons of different communication style in a much more effective way, because 4 minutes of your speech was about your story rather than the different communication style. And I want to close my evaluation by saying a few things: that great story, great delivery, great anecdotes, and one thing was very recommendable is that you remember your marriage anniversary. I felt that half of the battles would not be fought if one remembers the marriage anniversary. And this is the takeaway from me and all the men in this Toastmasters meeting. Thank you, Toastmaster Rajesh.
Thank you, Toastmaster Gajanan. With that, we finish our first segment of evaluations of all the 4 speakers, and that was really brilliantly done by all 4 evaluators. Moving on to the second segment, we've got our tag team, and we'll have their reports. Let me start with our grammarian for today, Toastmaster Marianne. Can we have you give your report, please?
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah. The word of the day was used by many of our speakers, like TM Runa, DTM Akbar, DTM Umesh, DTM Farida, the speakers of the day, TM Yash, TM Rajesh, and TM Arti. At the same time, we came across various and beautiful vocabulary like fraternity, passionate, were some which were used by TM Runa. Then TM Shukra came out with endeavor, guidelines, manifesto, sacred, propaganda. Then TM Niru, temperament, mindset, empathetic, acceptable. TM Yash also used a beautiful analogy, that is networking is connecting the dots. That was very appreciative, which we could connect it to our day-to-day this way. And TM Rajesh also elevated speech, customary. Overall, these were my findings, what I got from today's meeting.
Thank you, Toastmaster. Yes, thank you, Toastmaster Marianne. Moving on to our R counter, Toastmaster Masi, can you give us your report, please? Masi, can you unmute yourself?
Okay. There are quite a few expressions. Yes, he repeated for quite twice, and unconventional twice. Vishwaja so once, Tahira twice, once, and okay 6 times. Rahul twice, and repeated you know twice. And all the others were perfect in their speech. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Masi.
Yeah.
Moving on to our timer. DTM Akbar, can we have your report, please?
Thank you, generally related Sharmila. Today, we had most of the speakers qualified, but we had our first speaker, Yash, who took 11 minutes 50 seconds and has been disqualified. Niru 7:15, Shukra 6:53, Rajesh 7:10. Shantanu and Sartorio, who started the table topic session, took 3 minutes 48 seconds and hence disqualified. Rest of the speakers qualified. Rahul Gavas was 1:22. Chipka 1:09 seconds and Tanya 1 minute 8 seconds. All the evaluators have qualified and as well as the role players. Over to you.
Thank you. That was
Let me comment on the overall timings. We are delayed by around 20 minutes. I think we took an unnecessary break of about 10 minutes, which was not in the agenda. And in addition, there were glitches which caused further delays. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster DTM Akbar. And our last player, Toastmaster Joanne, who will do her listening role and show us what she has planned for us. Over to you, Toastmaster Joanne.
Good evening, everyone. Firstly, I would like you all to excuse me for not turning on the video. I'm doing so in order to avoid the glitches. But let us begin with this interesting session. Okay. So everybody ready?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So let's begin with the quiz. Which sweet dish did Toastmaster Yash have at the counter?
Gulab jamun.
Yes, you're right. Okay. Here's another one. What was the title of Toastmaster Neeru's speech?
Knock, knock.
Knock, 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 knock.
Yes, there goes another one. Good job. Here's the next question. Who wished us all a happy, ippy, dippy, poppy new year?
DTM Rita.
Yes, that was correct. Okay. What was Toastmaster Shantanu's the same New Year resolution for the past few years?
Avoid overthinking.
Yes, that's right. Okay. Yes. Toastmaster Runa mentioned that Toastmaster Shukra is an amazing writer and he has written a book as well. What's the title of this book? Anyone?
From better to worse.
From better to
Yes,
hard
yes.
FE worse.
Yes, that's absolutely right. Okay, here's another one. Toastmaster Yash opened his speech with a quote by Tim Sanders. What's the quote? This is a little tough. Any guesses?
That's two very similar words starting with network.
Network, yes.
Anyone? Okay, so I'll only say it. It's basically
Yes.
our network is what is going to create a net worth.
Yes, this is an amazing quote, and I hope you'll remember this the next time and forever for your lives. Okay, and the last question that I would like to end this session with. What were the actions we were told by Toastmaster Umesh to move ahead with this in this new year?
To leave 2021 behind, to write down all our thoughts.
To write what you're going to do.
Yes.
And take relationships to another level.
Yes. And the fourth one?
Read books.
Another one?
Something about the relationship.
That was the third one.
No, that was done. Okay, it was look at things differently. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. With this, I would like to conclude by saying, if you listen carefully, you get to hear everything. You didn't want to hear it in the first place. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Toastmaster Joanne. You've proved yourself to be an extremely good listener yourself, and most of us too. And we move on to the final segment, and that is my evaluation of this entire meeting. Now, like Sartorio said, this meeting seemed to be jinxed for some reason or the other. We kept wanting to have this meeting for the past 1 month and it wasn't happening. And our heart sank every time we had to say, we have to change the date, we have to change the venue, and so on and so forth. We were keeping our fingers crossed and we were hoping so much to have it as an offline meeting. Even that didn't happen. But what I'm happy is that we put our foot forward and we had this meeting. Come what may, offline or online, we'll have it. And I think we all deserve a big round of applause, especially for that. That's really great. And once we started, once we decided that this meeting has to take place, I think it went on in full flow. We had DTM Umesh, of course, who always has been known to remind the SAA to start the meeting on time. I did that today also, because of which we started our meeting exactly on time. From there onwards, things started moving so smoothly. I'm going to make it quick. The SAA, the presiding officer, they started the meeting, introduced the guests, the vision, everything was done beautifully. And then you had the 2 TMODs who came in, TTM Umesh, Toastmaster Runa. I was wondering how they will manage to do a dual Toastmasters role sitting in their own houses. The whole plan was to do it offline, where they'll be on stage together and there'll be a repartee and they will joke around and take the meeting forward. That was not possible. But in spite of that, I must commend both of them. I'm sure there are a lot of phone calls that took place also, but even by sitting in their own houses, they managed to take the meeting forward, dividing the entire meeting amongst the 2 of them. So well done to both the Toastmasters of the team. We had our speakers who've already been evaluated. All I can say is each speech was better than the next one. Their evaluations were perfect. Keeping the guidelines of Toastmasters in mind, all 4 evaluations were done in that way. This is very important. Guests, please note, these are little things of the meeting which we as members keep it in our mind and take it forward. Our debutante today, Tahira, who did her role for the first time, I could see a tiny bit of nervousness, but that then went off and she was enjoying herself as much as we were enjoying participating. Well done, Toastmaster Tahira. Hopefully seeing more of you in the different meetings. And of course, evaluations is going on very well. If I have a couple of suggestions to give, these are more than suggestions. These are things which I also realize are not in our hands, but I would still like to say it. Agenda does change very often. Okay. And this is a problem with all clubs. Last minute dropouts are there, but I must commend the VP of YMCA, Toastmaster Akbar, who even in the last minute managed to change the evaluator and bring him in. But during the meeting, the second problem took place, and that was our network issues. As long as we are on online mode, this is going to happen. I think we all just need to be very patient about it. I did realize that time was going on and we were worried whether we'll be able to complete the meeting on time. But I'm looking at the time, it is still 9:20. It's not as bad. And all the 4 speakers got their chance to speak. I'm glad about that. So well done on that. When it comes to the tag team, I would just like to make one comment to the grammarian. You have done a beautiful job of pointing out all those who use the word, and it was a very good word that you use, which can be used by all of us. You gave us all the good words that were used also by the speakers, but I do feel very strongly that each one of us, including the stalwart pillars of this club, we have DTM Farida, DTM Umesh, Akbar, Rajesh, we all still want to improve ourselves. So if there were any grammatical mistakes, it would be good to bring it out without taking names of anybody, so that that person knows that he or she can improve her English or his English. So this is just one tiny point. But otherwise, let me tell you, YMCA to me is very close to my heart. I was a part of YMCA even before I became a member. I was almost like the mascot of YMCA because I would come along with my husband for every meeting. And Adolf, who is no more today, would tell me, when are you joining Shambhala? And today I am a part of ICG. So YMCA is very close to my heart, and I was so keen that this meeting take place. It's unfortunate we couldn't do it offline, but at the end of it, I think all of us are feeling so good in our hearts that we had such a successful meeting. So thank you to the VP Ed and the presidents of both the clubs for making this happen. Thank you. Over to you, presiding officer, I think, of the day, or is it the TMOD? Presiding officer?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think I'll take over.
Yes.
And I don't see any guest still there in the room. And because this is a special meeting, we have decided not to have voting for this meeting. And especially even we are beyond time. And yeah, this meeting is very special to us. We have been planning for a long time, and it is promoted brotherhood among the clubs. Yeah, and yeah, of course, we are planning to have it offline. But as things are, things are not safe. Now, I think this is the time not to complain, but make the most of what we have. So a few announcements. Our next meeting will be offline of the ICG Toastmasters Club. It will be on the Thursday, 14th of this month. And for the YMCA Club, President Runa is not there. So he told me to announce that their meeting will be on Tuesday, 18th of Jan, which will also be online. Yeah, so it was a great meeting. Thanks everybody. And yeah, keep up the positivity. Bye.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye. Good night.
Night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Bye. Bye-bye. All the best.
Bye.